We are live. This is Big Reptile Talk. I'm Derek, and we got Miss Savannah, the queen of Gatorland. How you doing today?
I'm doing so good. Thanks for having me here with you.
I appreciate it. So today, I just kind of want to pick your brain, get to know you a little bit because I am a fan and I love what you're doing.
Oh,
Now,
yay. Let's do it.
now, before we start, I want to talk about Gator Palooza. How was that this weekend?
Well, so we don't get to, first of all, we're a really safe park at Gatorland, but when it's Gatorland's birthday, it was Gatorland's 72nd birthday. So we did get a little crazy and we did what we're calling the Florida Man Challenge. So we brought in some YouTubers that work with crocodilians and we did like a triathlon. Can you hear me?
Oh no, no, I was talking to somebody else. I'm sorry. I can hear you. I can hear
Oh,
you just
okay.
fine.
So we did like a triathlon, and then like two of our guys swam out in the chute through the breeding marsh that's like the cage for the zip line. And then they jumped into a boat with us. I don't know if you know Chandler from Chandler's Wildlife. He was on my team. And then Robbie Kesey from Get Swamped was the other team. And then we boated all the way around like this big observation tower. And we let people throw meat at the boat. So the alligators were encouraged to come like stop us. And then we went underneath a bridge and we did a big mud run to the end. I can't tell you who won yet because I'm going to put it in my YouTube video on Wednesday. But it was definitely an upset.
Uh, that sounds amazing, and I hope that one day I can actually visit and hang out when it is Gator Palooza. That's amazing. Now, talk to me about that title, the International Ambassador of Gatorland. Like, what does that entail? Talk to me about that.
So when I first started working at Gatorland, I wanted us to have a big conservation arm so we could have a big presence in the conservation world. So I already had a relationship with some people that I met in Cuba that work at the Cuban crocodile facility at Guama in Zapata Swamp. So that was the first project because I already knew them and I was just trying to find a way for us to help them. So now what we do is, and I think it's kind of neat how we do it. So our YouTube revenue all goes into this one like big pile, right? And in that pile of money, we can use it to pick which projects we would like to be involved in. The first project, of course, was the project in Cuba. So so I go there as the international ambassador to help them with projects they might have ongoing. We also do it in Jamaica. We were working on an India project before COVID hit. And then we do some stuff down in South Florida as well with the American crocodiles.
Dude, that sounds amazing. You just have an amazing job, and I'm jealous. So you interview a lot of celebs, and I'm going to talk about that. So I've seen you have Shaq on YouTube, and then just recently you interview Ice Cube. Like how
Oh my gosh.
how was that interviewing the Ice Cube?
So first of all, I'm not one of those people that tries to pretend like they're cool, right? So I know that like no one in my circle is ever going to be as cool as Ice Cube. So I was super stoked. And I think like he felt that kind of crazy energy. So as soon as he came on, I was like, oh my God, Ice Cube, I love you. And he was like, I love y'all too. And I was like, so we pulled that sound clip. So I'm going to put it in my phone. So every time my phone rings, it'll be Ice Cube saying, I love y'all too.
That is amazing, and that's just one of the reasons that you are a legend. Now, I've never been to Gatorland. Can you explain to me, if I was to visit, what's a day? Well, what could I expect to visit? If I visited at Gatorland, what could I expect?
So you know how people go to Disney and they want to hang out with Mickey Mouse and they want to do all the Mickey Mouse things. So imagine that, but for reptile lovers. So it's alligators, it's crocodiles, it's snakes, it's tarantulas. It's like a haven for all the people like me and like you and like Miguel and like Jeremy and the nerd guys came to see us. Like it's just the Emerald City for people that love reptiles, really.
That is amazing, and I hope one day I can visit.
Yeah,
Now,
anytime you come to Florida, all you have to do, you can just hit me up. I'll take you around. I'll show you everything. It'll be super fun.
that You ain't got to tell me twice. I'm there now. Now, with you being the queen of Gatorland, what's a day like for you? What do you do there, on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I do a lot more than people see in the pictures and the videos. So, like tomorrow morning when I get there, I'll have to go feed the kookaburra is the first thing I do, and then I have to clean out his enclosure, and then I'll have to go in, and we just got some new animals I can't announce yet, so I'll have to go and feed them and check on them and clean out their enclosures. We also have our albinos are nesting right now. I think I have these things in my ears wrong. Hang on. Let me try to switch it out. There you go. Then now it won't fall out. Professional broadcasting. Oh, I can't hear out
I
of
love
this.
it.
Okay, so and then also so I'll have to go check on the nesting areas for all the crocodiles and alligators and see if anyone has actually been digging or if any eggs were laid. And if that's the case, then we'll have to go collect them. If it's not the case, then we'll do something else. We have and then so I usually get super dirty every single day. Like I'm really clean today because I didn't work today. And so I just got to take a shower and get up and do this because I was worn out from Gator Palooza. But yeah, usually by this time of day, like I'm dragging so much.
Now, at Gatorland, what's your favorite gator to work with?
Oh my gosh, there's so many that I divide them all into subcategories. Like my favorite leucistic alligator, those are the big white ones with the blue eyes, is Pharaoh's. He's the biggest one, and he's the one that's going to get somebody if anybody ever gets anybody. Trezos is the other one. He's pretty calm. We have a really old alligator named Jaws that seems to really enjoy being in lots of videos. So he pops up all the time. I love him to death. Like there's just so many that I love. Like I can't even, I mean, I did have a favorite alligator and his name was Blackwater. And unfortunately last year he passed away.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and you guys can check that video later, but that was my heart. So, there's so many other ones that I love. And, I just feel really, really honored that I get to spend time with such amazing creatures every single day.
I love that. Now, I know you love gators, but what's your favorite animal at the park, just in general? Do you have a favorite animal that's not an alligator?
Well, my favorite animal at the park is Dundee, and he's about a 14-foot saltwater crocodile. And so we have a couple saltwater crocodiles, but he's just he thinks a lot. He pays attention to what you're doing, especially your eyes. Like if you're in with them and you just turn your eyes, like you think it's something that they won't notice, but they notice everything. And I get chased around by him a lot, but I think I'm his favorite human there, but I could be wrong, but I think I am.
Now, I know you work with a lot of animals at Gatorland, but talk to me about your personal collection. What do you have at home that you enjoy?
So I used to have a really big collection of animals. Some I had to leave in California when I moved back to Florida about 6 years ago. I had a hypo Burmese python, a big one. I had a couple reticulated pythons that I had to give up because you can't take them across state lines and all that nonsense. So right now in my house, I have a Kumingi monitor, which is a Philippine water monitor, the bright yellow and black ones. And I have a white tree frog that I love, and his name's Frogger, and he brings me a lot of joy.
I love that. Now, with you being on Instagram, you a big dog. You have almost 200,000 subscribers. How does that make you feel knowing that 200,000 people want to see what you're doing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I mean, it's a great feeling. Like, I think there's a lot of really awesome people that are on Instagram that don't get as much attention as maybe some of the more shocking things that are on there. Like there's lots of conservationists doing work in other countries and stuff like that. And I feel like, and I don't like this feeling, but I feel like I'm one of the only people that is like, I like to share everybody's stuff, right? Because I get the part where like, I'm doing cool stuff, but you are too, and you are too, and you are too. So I'm an abundance kind of thinking person. So I think if there's enough for me, there's enough for you, there's enough for you, there's enough for you. And, I feel like maybe a lot of people don't think that same way. So I feel like my platform is able to pull up other platforms that are doing great stuff and other platforms that are doing great stuff. So that's kind of what I try to use it for. There's an Instagram channel called Save Crocs Jamaica, which is one of my favorite Instagram. And I know the people that work in Jamaica, and I know how hard they work, So like, I'm always trying to get people to go there so that they can see the amazing stuff that people are doing in other countries, not just here, and, not let it be just about me. Let it be about the world and all these people like you and Nerd and Barcheck and Miguel and Jam Crocs and everybody that's doing great stuff. Everybody deserves some sort of, everybody deserves their share of the glory in all that we're doing together.
I love that answer. You're so positive. And I will tell you, you shared a video that just touched me. And I was like, she's really nice. You shared a video of this lady. She's from London. She was singing a song, and you shared it. And I was like, I love this. She's sharing, YouTubers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
That was a great video.
So there's so many, like, okay, so I love Instagram, but I really love TikTok. And here's why. Like, I feel nothing but love in TikTok. Like, I share stuff, people share my stuff. I've never come up against someone that's like a hater in there. And I see it a lot on Facebook and Instagram, which makes me want to go in a different direction, Like, people think TikTok's silly, but there are people doing great stuff there as well. So it's my new favorite, and I got about 500,000 on there. And I think it's because, there are all these great people in the whole world doing all these great things. And like maybe you didn't see it, but I'm going to show it to you. And now you can love her too, that girl in London. And, she deserves it. Like, she's a miracle with that voice. It's so beautiful.
Right. I love that answer. Now, with us talking about the visitors to Gatorland, you've had so many celebrity visitors. I got to put you on the spot. Who is your favorite? Who is your favorite celebrity visitor?
So I love Shaq because Shaq loves alligators. Like, the thing about Shaq is, like, I never met him before. I had seen him play basketball because I live in Orlando. And when he was on the Magic, I used to go to games. But seeing Shaq in person is like seeing, like, whoever your favorite superhero is. Like, he's so much more gigantic and so much more a personality than you ever see in any of the stuff he does. And he comes to the park and he gets a bunch of meat and he brings all his friends and we just run through the park and feed stuff. And it is so much fun. He's always funny and he's always in the best mood.
Yeah, I love Shaq. He's one of my favorite basketball players now. Since you visited with so many celebrities, is there a hopeful, visit that you want from a celebrity? Like, who do you want to visit that hasn't visited yet?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Let me think. Who do I love? Like, okay, so I'm a big fan of Wiz Khalifa. I would love it if he would come to the park. I watch his TikToks and he seems like he's a lot of fun. Like he would be super fun to hang out with. I think Anthony Hopkins has a crazy TikTok, but I would like to see what he would do, like, in front of animals. So, I mean, I love everybody to come, but if I got to hang out with, like, okay, so Britney Spears, that's who I want to hang out with all day. So if we're being honest, if Britney Spears came and hung out with me all day and we fed alligators together, because she's from Louisiana, like, I think that would be a good vacation for her.
I would love to see that. Now, we're going to talk about fans. And I tell this story because I hung out with Miguel from Always Evolves in Pythons. And I asked him, I said, give me a crazy fan story. And I hope he doesn't kill me, but I tell this story in every interview I do. I said, give me a crazy fan story. And he told me that he had a fan, after a Reptile Expo. It was a guy. He came up to me and was like, hey, after the expo, let's go kill some beers. And he was like, let's do it. So they went and had beers. And after they drank the beers, the guy was like, all right, now we had food, we had some beer, let's go up to the room. And Miguel was like, whoa, wait, it's not even that kind of party.
What?
Yeah, funniest story that I ever heard now. So I say that to lead into the question of saying, give me a crazy fan story from the park. Have you ever had any crazy fans?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. Um, there, I think when I first started working there, there was somebody that came to the park and they wanted me to walk them around, and I can't remember their name. But once we got into the back where the crocodiles are, which is it's a more secluded area than the main walkway, right? He
Right.
started saying a couple weird things like, "So are you going out with anybody?" And I was like, "No." Like that weird question, right? So then I just keep talking, and he's like, "Well, I've been looking for somebody to go out with since I just got out of prison." And I was like, all right, man, well, good luck. So that was kind of weird. But now I usually don't take grown men to the back by myself. So I always get somebody to walk with me so that if it gets weird like that, it doesn't have to be a weird moment. But most of the people are just amazing. Like everybody has fun and everybody's really cool. And like, I haven't met really any weird. That was kind of weird, that thing. Yep. Now that I think about it, I probably forgot about it.
That is a funny fan story. Now that we're talking about people coming to the park, how was it being able to hang out with two of the biggest in the game, too, like Brian Barczyk and Chandler? How does that make you feel that you get to hang out with some of the dopest people in the hobby?
Well, I love Chandler. Like I've always watched Chandler even before I worked at Gatorland, and I've watched him kind of evolve and go through different stages and stuff like that. But he's just a really great guy, and he has great plans for what he's doing with his stuff. And and here's the thing, and Brian Barczyk and I have been friends for over 15 years. Like we've known each other for a very long time. And he's always wonderful, and I love him to death. Him and Lori and everybody that works there. Jay, that is his YouTube guy now, was a good friend of mine too. And I love them. And I love Miguel. So I got to meet Miguel when Brian brought him down. And we got to hang out and do some crazy stuff that I don't even know if I could talk about. But I do know we went for a Jeep ride in the middle of nowhere in some mud. And it was my Jeep. And somebody got thrown out the back of it. And we did some crazy stuff. Oh, Reese's Pythons. I love them when they come to the park. They're the most fun family.
Now, working at Gatorland, what's the worst bite you've ever experienced?
The worst bite I've ever experienced was not working at Gatorland. I actually got bit by a reticulated python that was feeding, and I tried to adjust his posture a little bit while he was eating. And he swung back around and bit me. And he was I'd say about 8-9 feet long. And he bit me pretty hard. And because he was feeding, he thought my hand was the food. So that was because I've been bitten by lots of snakes before, like tons of snakes. But that was probably the worst sort of, all right, we got to get people back here to get this off my hand because it wrapped all the way up my arm. Like that was a strange one. And I also was bitten by a spectacled caiman. I think people underestimate caiman a lot because they're so small, But I got bit by a caiman and my hand went through his mouth so fast that I don't even know how I got it out. But people shouldn't underestimate caiman because they're fish eaters and they're super fast and they'll get you if they can.
Now I'm somebody that's watching wanted me to ask a question, so I'll show it.
Okay.
Do you know Chucky from Mad Bio Reptiles?
I do. He actually used to work at Gator Spot. I never got to spend very much time with them, but I hear he's doing great. So, and again, I wish everybody the best of everything.
Okay, now that we're talking about snakes, do you mess with venomous snakes? And are you planning on ever acquiring some venomous snakes of your own?
So I have gone down to Tom Crutchfield's and work with some of the cobras and stuff that he has down there, but it's really not my thing. There are enough people out there that are doing it, and they're doing it in the greatest way. And they're being safe and they're working on the conservation of those animals. And it's just, to me, it's just not my thing, but for everybody else that's doing it, I wish them the best doing it. I really, really like the rear fanged snakes, I'm going to pronounce it wrong and somebody will correct me and that's fine. boiga, like the mangrove snakes and the cat-eyed snakes and all of those snakes. I like them a lot. I like their attitude. They're very feisty. Um, but yeah, so the venomous stuff is really not my thing, but all praise to everyone that's doing it and doing it in the best way.
I love that answer. We're not even going to talk about snakes anymore because you're more on the alligator and crocodile side. Give me what's going through your mind when you're just right up there, up close with a crocodile or alligator. Tell me what's going. What are you thinking? How does that feel?
Well, it's an interesting place, Gatorland, in that the different animals like different people, right? And different animals go after different people. And I think it's just the animal's preference. Now, you would assume they would all come for food, and some of them do, but not all of them do. So we have a big Nile crocodile that works with Mike Heilman. He could care less about me. And, and that's fine. He has a great person to work with. He has a great trainer. Dundee, I love, and I was aggressive with wanting to work with him because I think he's so fantastic. So even when I wasn't working with him, inside the habitat, I would sit outside the habitat and we would just, with reptiles, you have snakes and stuff, like you just spend time, right? And it doesn't have to be intrusive time, but you're both in each other's presence and you're not frightening each other. You're not feeding each other. You're not, trying to mess up that moment. So I sit a lot with Dundee just in the same space so that he knows that every time that I come back there, it's not something aggressive. It's not food. And I think that's gotten me out of, I think a couple times when he could have had me, he was like, she ain't that bad.
Now, when you're at work, are there any animals that you don't feel comfortable messing with?
Yeah, Chester. Chester's our biggest alligator that lives by himself, and I don't mess around with Chester.
Okay, that's understandable.
He's one of the biggest alligators at Gatorland. He lives by himself. He came because he was eating dogs over in Tampa. But to be fair, the population of his community had been feeding him for years, which is illegal in the state of Florida. So when they were going to euthanize him, because he ate a couple dogs, Gatorland stepped in and said, hey, we'll bring him here and we'll teach people a lesson with this animal. And, he's a wild alligator. He's a big alligator. Like when they first put him in, he tried to kill everything in the main lake. And then, so they put him, he lives by himself. They tried to give him a girlfriend. He tried to kill her as well. There's a video online of him biting a trainer's hand. And like, I just don't mess with Chester, man. Like, just not my thing. Like, he's an alligator. Like, they're crocodiles I'd rather spend time with than Chester.
I agree. Sounds like he's a big gator. So yeah, I agree. I won't want to mess with him either.
Yeah, well, you'll have to meet him when you come, and when you see, like, you'll be like, oh, okay, I got it now. So he's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
I love that. Now, how has COVID affected Gatorland?
So I had just gotten back from Australia on May 1st, I think it was. And I was supposed to leave to India on May 6th. And in between those 5 days, the state of Florida got shut down and flights started getting canceled. And because I may have gotten stuck in India because of COVID and how people didn't know about it at the time, that trip was canceled. So we instead, the day that all the kids had to stay home from school, we started a program called School of Croc, which was a live Facebook show. And we brought out animals every single morning, because at that time people were frantic. Like, what am I going to do with my kids all day? And, how am I going to do my work, even if I'm working from home? So we gave all the parents an hour every morning from like 10 until 11 that we would entertain their kids. We did an interactive Facebook show. Kids could ask questions. They could comment, kind of just like you're doing right now. But we did it every morning. And then every afternoon, we did a Facebook Live. So we grew this big audience of people that were really grateful for that time that they had, And so as soon as the park opened back up, we've just been so busy and flooded with people and wonderful kids and wonderful families that just want to come hang out with all the animals they saw on the School of Crocs. So for us, that worked out really, really well. Gatorland is one of the only companies, and we live in the tourist capital of the world. Gatorland is the only big theme park that continued to pay every single employee through the whole entire thing. So no one lost their jobs at Gatorland. Now, I don't know about the other parks, but I'm going to assume that it didn't
I,
work the same way. But Gatorland is definitely a family, and Gatorland definitely took care of all of us for sure.
I love that. I love that. So y'all utilize the internet and y'all stayed afloat and y'all still paid all y'all employees. Y'all doing big things over there. Now
Yep.
we're going back to the collabs. I'm curious. You've collabed with so many of the biggest names in the game, but I'm wondering if you could collab with anybody right now, alive or dead, who would you want
Ooh.
to who would you want to collab with?
Okay, so I would love for Mr. Beast to come out to Gatorland. I'm sure that's reaching, but I would love to see them come out to Gatorland. Um, Other big YouTube channels. I don't know. Like so because you work in the reptile industry, you know that there's a lot of, like, I believe in abundance and Gatorland believes in abundance, but everybody doesn't believe in abundance. Some people believe in tearing each other down, and if that's their way, that's fine. So we're just really careful about who we invite into our park, and we do turn down more people than we let come in because we don't want drama, we don't want negativity. We don't want reptile snobs, and you know they're there. And nothing against you guys, not trying to be mean. Don't lash out. But when people come to see us, we want to have fun, and we don't want to, like, if when I go to Brian's facility, like, I love and enjoy all of his animals, and it's always a happy time. It's always
Right.
a happy time. Like, I don't go in there and try to tell him how to live his life, but a lot of people do that, and so we try to steer clear of any of that kind of stuff and just bring people that are enthusiastic and love animals. That's all we care about.
I love that answer. Now, with us talking about collabs, you this isn't a collab question, but I will say this. You've had such an amazing life. And if they were going to make a biography, like a movie about you,
Uh-huh.
who would you want to play in that movie? Who would you want to play you in the Savannah Boan, Queen of Gatorland movie?
Ooh. Well, first let me say I would like for me to play me, but if I wasn't available,
Yes, if you
if
weren't
I'm not available.
available.
Um Man, how do I say it so it'd be really cool if it was like a Drew Barrymore or Charlize Theron or somebody like that. Not trying to, fan my own flames or anything, but I'd really like to do it myself.
Right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, if you want to do it, that's cool. But I'm just curious. So now I'm gonna put you on the spot. If
Uh-oh.
you weren't working at Gatorland right now, what would you be doing?
Um if I wasn't working at Gatorland right now, I think I would probably be living in Australia working at a crocodile park there.
I
Like,
love that.
I would still be doing the same things I'm doing now, just, probably in a different place. And when I went to Australia, I got to hang out with Matt Wright and Graham Webb and some of the legends over there in the Northern Territory. And it was just amazing. And there's so much to learn from everybody. Like, I'm learning from you right now about your interviewing style. Like, I learned from Miguel about what he does with his pythons. And, I learned from Brian about how he takes, like, I learned so much every single day. And I'm just really blessed that, like, I get to live that way. But I worked really hard for it.
Okay, we got a question from a viewer. Have you ever seen Fluffy the comedian
I
Gatorland
have.
stand up?
I have. It's really, really funny. Fluffy actually came to Gatorland and did some stuff. And actually, I don't know if anyone knows who Chris Gethard is. He's also a comedian. We turned our breeding marsh into a comedy club, and he came in and did stand up to some of our alligators. And that special is coming out, I think, on Netflix in June. So that was really fun.
I'll be sure to check that out. Now, I want to inspire people. So if there's any ladies watching, I want you to give them advice. If a lady wants to follow in your footsteps, just give them advice. How could someone follow in your footsteps?
So I made my job. There was not a job of this before I made it for Gatorland. Like, they basically said, we'll give you this many hours a week, go find yourself something to do. And that's what I did. So I tell everybody basically the same thing, whether it's an up and coming female or a male. Always be the hardest working person in the room. That's what my dad taught me. And I will, and I might not be as good as everyone else, but I will outwork everyone. I will outwork every single person because that's kind of how I live my life. And also like, I think something that's lacking that everyone should just remember is be nice to everybody. Because all of these people are going to come back into your life at some point. And, you know, every time somebody comes into your life, it brings you joy, even if that joy comes when they're walking away. But everybody should just be nice to everybody. And I think we could all collectively do a lot more together.
I love that answer. Now, this is a question I ask everybody.
Okay.
You at Gatorland, you know, one of the biggest spots in the world, and you soaking up a lot of knowledge. Have you ever thought about opening up your own kind of like Gator facility?
Never, not once. Well, before I worked at Gatorland, yes, but Gatorland is pretty much the very best alligator, crocodile, reptile facility in the world. Like, and no one can match that. And after 72 years of knowledge, like it would be impossible for anyone to even try. Now I know people do try, and God bless them, and I wish them all the best. But you know, there's so when the alligator population in the state of Florida was at its lowest levels, like in the early 80s, maybe late 70s, Gatorland worked with the University of Florida. They artificially inseminated the very first American alligator. Gatorland is responsible for, you know, the alligator population in the state of Florida growing back to what should be normal levels now. And you can't just be an upstart and think that, you know, think that you could get that kind of knowledge and experience anywhere else in the world. Like I wanted to work for Gatorland forever. I was applying for 7 years before I even got a chance. So that's a lot of dedication to a company that you didn't even work for yet.
I love that answer. You're a hard worker, and it shows in your videos. I admire you.
Oh, thank you
Uh,
so much. But you didn't tell me anything about you yet.
so I work in the nursing field,
Okay.
and my YouTube, I pretty much do it, you know, just in my spare time. I like to, you know, do cool stuff in my reptile room and just hang out with cool people along the way. And I'm not gonna lie, when you confirmed hanging out with me, I ran around my house. My wife was like, what's going on? Did you win a lottery? I said, whoa, this is big. The queen of Gatorland is hanging out with me. So again, I just want to say thank you. But that's pretty much me. I have a
Okay.
family.
So you have snakes, right?
Yes, that's one of my favorite reptiles. I have a little bit of everything. I have multiple snakes. I have leopard gecko. I have Pac-Man frog. I have a lot of stuff, and nothing as big as what y'all got at Gatorland.
Well, I mean, that's most people don't have anything that big because like we're 110 acres. Like nobody has that much land to put everything on. And so you're married and you have kids. Is that what you were going to say? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And do
Mhm.
your kids like your animals?
Oh, of course, my son loves my snakes. I take him in there all the time. You know, I let him
Oh,
hold the
yeah.
leopard gecko. Um, I let him see the snakes. He loves my animals, and I love
What
animals
kind of
too.
snake?
So I have multiple snakes. I have a Amazon tree boa, a carpet
Okay.
python, a carpet python, a king snake, a corn snake, a rosy boa. I just got a new ball python. Miguel from Always Evolving Python sent me a snake for free.
Oh,
Uh,
Miguel.
yeah, he sent me this snake for free. I also, like I said, I got my leopard gecko and my Pac-Man frog. You know, I'm in an apartment, but I have about 8 or 9 animals.
How's your you said you had a carpet python? Those are some of my favorite snakes.
One of my favorites too. He's huge. His name is
Yeah.
Ghost. I'm gonna have to send you
Ghost?
some pictures. Yes.
Oh yeah, I saw one picture of him. I think on your Instagram, where you were holding him.
Yeah.
Um, Carpet pythons are really awesome. Like I love their little faces, and I love I feel like they're kind of like if the blood python is like the pit bull of the snake world, then like the carpet python is more like your Australian dogo or something like that. Like I like the way they look. I think they're beautiful.
Yeah, he's pretty chill. He's definitely pretty chill. Now, well, I don't want to talk. I want to talk about you.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you amazing. So we're going to ask you a question now. I want to know who are some of your inspirations.
So when I was growing up and I wanted to work with animals, at the time there weren't a lot of females doing it. So, you know, there wasn't a girl that I ever saw that was doing what I'm doing right now. That doesn't mean they weren't there. There just wasn't one that I saw. Now, of course, you love like your Steve Irwins, and I do read a lot. Like I read a lot of books. Always wanted to move to Florida. Okay, so if we're just talking straight inspiration, I'm gonna go Zuza, who is a dancer, and I think she's from Brazil, and she did a kids show, and I used to love her, and I used to watch her, and I could never understand her because she spoke Spanish, and I didn't understand Spanish, but she was like this shining light of like, you can be beautiful, you can work with kids, you can get a message across. And I don't even know how I found that in my little South Carolina town. But she was definitely an inspiration. Punky Brewster, I think, was super cool. Like, I just watched her little documentary on Hulu. I don't know. There wasn't an animal person so much. Like, of course, everybody loves Steve Irwin and you know, all those people. But I don't, and I love Matt Wright. Matt Wright's a big inspiration for me right now. Like, I definitely study him and was fortunate enough to get to spend some time with him, which was probably one of the most amazing things I've ever been able to do in my life.
Right. I love that answer. Now, Reptile Feed is a good friend of mine. He wanted me to ask you, can me and him come on a tour and get to learn some stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like when I say anytime you come to Florida, just let me know. I will for sure take you around. I'll show you some stuff. Like I work really hard to try to make every tour different and specific to the person that wants to come. So you guys just come to Florida and let me know and we'll do something great. Like I love it. I love when I get to go to other facilities and get people to show me their favorite stuff. So when people come to mine, I want to give them the same courtesy and like make it super fun for them and have a great experience.
You heard that, Reptile Feedings, man. I told y'all. Look, he said, "Woo, hell yeah."
Yeah, we'll do something fun together.
Okay, now, do you do any kind of breeding?
So we do, but we don't. So there are lots of facilities that do. I don't want to call it forced breeding. So we want to keep our animals happy, right? Because lots of them, like we don't know what facility got shut down by FWC and they had to come live here. So we don't really know a lot of the backstory of some of our animals. Some of them we do, but the majority of them we don't. Some of them are wild alligators. Some of them were illegal pets. Some of them are growth stunted. Like we just went to Chicago and we went to Brian's and then we went to pick up 2 alligators. One had been living in a drug dealer's house in a teeny tiny aquarium. It was like a 30-year-old alligator, but it's really small, barely even 6 foot long. And then another one, the one that was found swimming in Lake Michigan, I don't know how old that alligator is, but he's a teeny tiny little thing. And so when we put him in with our other alligators, you know, they had this like Chicago attitude, right? So they went in there, they saw the big guy, they climbed up on top of him, they started bellowing. And all our Florida alligators were like, nope. What are y'all doing? Y'all can't just come in here like that. So it was, you know, we have to watch over things like that. And I forgot the question. I'm sorry. I was babbling.
I was asking, do you do any kind of like breeding, you know, at Gatorland?
Yeah. Back to this word. Okay. So we believe that breeding animals are happy animals. So we breed for that purpose. We don't breed for like, you know, specific stuff. Like our leucistic alligator female, she's a het leucistic, and then we have a leucistic together. And she looks like she's got a lot of eggs. So if she lays those eggs, we'll be very happy about that. But like, you know, we want everything to be able to breed because, you know, even humans, if you're a breeding human, you're usually a happy human. And same with alligators and crocodiles. If they're breeding, they're probably happy.
Right. I agree with that answer. Now, I got 2 more questions, and then I'm normally in my interviews, I go about 30 or 40 minutes. And again, I thank you for hopping on with me. You're a legend.
Thanks for having me.
You are a legend. Now, I want to know, where do you want to take Gatorland in the next 5 years? What are some of your goals, you know, for yourself and Gatorland?
So Gatorland Global is our conservation arm, and that's the arm that gets out there. Like we have the park in Orlando, and it's great. And so what I would like is, I just got a message this morning. You'll be the first person to know this. I just got a message this morning. So I did a TED Talk. I don't know if you know that. I did a TED Talk when I first started working at Gatorland, and it went over really well. And then this morning when I woke up, I got an email from a college in India, in New Delhi, and they've invited me to speak at another TEDx conference. So I'm very excited about that. And I say that to get to this. So I'm going to use this open door here in India because I know that there's an amazing facility there called the Madras Crocodile Bank Trust that was started by Ron Whitaker. And I'm going to use this insertion of Savannah into India to work on a conservation project over there with the gharial and the mugger crocodiles, and try to just reach out and like get Gatorland all over the world.
I love that answer. I appreciate you for hopping on with me. Before I end my interviews, I always shout out everybody in our community because we have 20 plus people watching. First off, I want to shout out Reese's Pythons, amazing guy. Kurt Wood.
Hey,
Kurt Wood.
I'm shouting too.
Kurt Wood, Iron Dog, My Animal House, Venom, Desert Wolf Armory, Ball Python Love, Reptile Feedings, OSMR, Not Lou, Josue's Exotics, Cold Blooded Monstars, Alberto Aurora, Sherry Lynn, Solo Butterfly, Patrick Reptiles, Low Life Reptiles. It's so many dope people in our community. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to them. And if you're not doing anything tonight, make sure you check out the Iron Animal Show. Two good friends of mine. Great show to check out. We're getting ready to leave, but I don't want you to leave yet, Miss Savannah. We're getting ready to end the show. This is Big Reptile Talk. We had a lot of people watching. I appreciate you. I'm grateful. Stick around, man. This is a legend right here. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to her. And if you can, get to Gatorland. She's a queen. She's so knowledgeable. She's good at what she does. We're going to end this show. And y'all make sure y'all check out the next show. Y'all don't know who I'm bringing. Y'all don't know who I'm bringing to the show, man. Big Reptile Talk. Thank you so much. You hear me? Peace out,
Bringing
y'all.
it.